In 2003, I was sentenced to 144 years in prison in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And this is my story. I'm going to start telling it bit by bit, piece by piece. This is part one, if you will. Of course, I got to change a few things, protect some people, um, you know, stuff like that. But I will tell the story truthfully, honestly, regardless of how I feel, regardless of how you guys might look at me. This is for educational purposes. And if you have questions, put them in the chat. Y'all know what we do. Thank you for the support. So I want to bring y'all back to my childhood. I'm going to kind of fast forward that part and lead you up into the night of. Growing up, I had both parents. I was given up for adoption, but raised by two parents that adopted me in a black and Mexican household. People ask that. They're like, yo, what are you mixed with? I'm actually black and white, though. And everything was good until they weren't. Financial situations eventually caused a divorce amongst my parents. And with my father out the household, our living arrangements changed. We went from a house in a cul-de-sac to a townhouse to apartment to living in virtually the projects. And mom was trying. She really was. But again, with pops out the house and mom working two jobs to keep a roof over our head, I had plenty of time to explore. I was a good kid in school, great kid, but I was also great in the streets. I could learn fast. I could adapt. I paid attention. I could get along with different types of people. And I started hanging out with a slightly older crowd who showed me how to hustle, how to get money. It was just the thing to do. It was like a rite of passage in Chicago. It is what it is. It's like that in most cities. I eventually, as time went by, I got in trouble in high school fighting. I had ADHD. I was too hyper and it just didn't keep my attention. I wasn't a bad student, very capable of learning, got good grades, but the teachers, they didn't provide the support I needed. And eventually, too many fights later, got kicked out and given the opportunity to go to a program called Lincoln's Challenge Program in Rantoul, Illinois. It was ran by the National Army or Army National Guard, and it's basically for like the worst kids, quote unquote, that they say in Illinois that can't go to school. When I graduated from that, I went into the Air Force, United States Air Force at 17. I had to get permission. My mother had to sign a permission slip. I went in, and at 17, being somebody got kicked out of high school, graduated military school. Now I'm in the military at 17. I'm by myself across the country with a car, money every week, no bills. I wasn't ready. I was not mature enough to be out there in the world. Though it was a great opportunity, I wasn't ready for it. And I was good on base, great at my job, but I started getting in trouble off base, messing with a lot of women, getting into fights, that sort of thing. Bounced a check, I think. I didn't get in trouble for it, but one of the stores called my first sergeant, things like that. And eventually they said, yo, you got to go. We're giving you a general discharge under honorable conditions. Nice to have you. Thank you for your service, but get on down the road. And I was angry at this point. And what made me even more angrier, not only did I have to go back home after having my own, home wasn't Chicago anymore. My mother had moved to Virginia. And I didn't know my family in Virginia. And all I knew it was slow out there. And it wasn't Chicago. And when I moved out there with my mother, I got to also add into the fact she lived with my grandmother. And I had to share a room with my older cousin. My cousin was basically my only support system out there outside of my girlfriend, a couple of coworkers, etc. And we were cool, you know what I'm saying? We were all right. But we never really clicked. Him being 10 years older, I just wasn't into the things he was in. He used to watch mob movies and he actually liked the street life. I was actually trying to get out of it, which is weird. I was kind of fed up with getting in trouble. And with us living in the same room, he'd get off work. He was working from Hardee's. I remember he'd bring home food. We're eating burgers and just talking about, man, we got to make it out of here. Like, this is not what's up. Living in grandma's house, sharing a room that's like the size of a prison cell. It was like a prelude to my life. And eventually he started making moves and he didn't say anything to me, but he got his own spot. And one day he did. He came to me and he said, cuz, you know what I'm into? I said, no. I said, but I know you're doing something. You got your own spot. You doing all right. He said, I was. He said, I'm in trouble, though. I got to make some money. I'm in debt. My rent, they're going to evict me, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I need you to take me and my homeboys up the street. I was like, man, I don't know about that, bruh. He's like, bro, you don't got to get out the car or nothing. I was like, I don't know what y'all going to get into. He's like, nobody's going to get hurt. So I knew it was going to be a crime, and I kind of, yeah, I did know it was going to be a robbery. But once he said that, I was like, well, what are y'all going to rob it with? And he's like, it's not even a real pea shooter. It's a BB. It's a fake one. So I said, okay. And I remember the moment I said, okay, my gut, it turned. And I should have listened to my gut. But in my mind, I tried to justify like a lot of us do when we know we're doing something wrong. I said, well, it's not a real weapon. Nobody's going to be hurt. And I don't have to get out the truck. So even if we get in trouble, I should just get probation. I'll be okay. I'll learn from it. But I was still loyal to my family. This is how I justified it in my mind. And the night came like 2, 3 nights later. I picked him up. His homeboy, he sat shotgun. His homeboy's in the back. And we drove. And we got there. And I drove a little bit off to the distance. They got out. And they were back pretty quick. And I remember looking back because I could hear them kind of screaming. There was little money flying a little bit everywhere. Nothing too crazy. And when they got in the truck, I just hit the gas. And I was so scared. And I was like, I just want to get it over. I just want to get us to somewhere where we're safe, if there was a such thing. And I didn't have the headlights on. I'm whipping through the alley. Boom, I almost hit a car. We get home, though. Safe. We don't see no cops. I get back to my grandmother's, and the whole rest of the night, I'm looking out the window. I'm looking out the window. I'm freaked out. Because I know, like, I crossed the line that I'm not going to be able to uncross. And here we go.